People can look for things like the Draven, but of course it is going to be Lucian. Actually, Nami on 2, interesting. You know, generally I feel like people just will wait for Nami on 3 to try to take something away from their opponents, but just going to lock it in. They want to see a little bit more from Golden Guardians and potentially try to get some sort of a counter.
I would be pretty hyped to see a Samira or a Neela, but I imagine that Stixxay...
Don't get your hopes up.
Oh, well, you know what? I'll take a Kalista. I'll take a Kalista.
Okay.
That's pretty hype.
Yeah. That's got to be one of the first ones we've seen in the LCS this split.
Other than Sven's support Kalista.
Yeah, we did see that, but I'm trying to think about bot lane ones, and I guess theoretically this could still be support.
Yeah.
But interesting, so they're not even locking their support here. They're actually going to go Renekton, so now...
They're keeping it ambiguous here.
Yeah, they're maybe going to look for a little bit of a later pick, try to see what the rest of the composition is. We could have an answering pick here from Revenge. To me, that's what makes the most sense. I think it's fine to drop your jungle towards the second phase. It's not really a big deal. They seem to disagree, though. They're going to go Wukong instead, so it will mean Revenge gets less advantage out of being on red side because they can throw some protection bans for that Renekton.
Right.
And that's going to kind of limit his options a little bit. But generally, when you are playing against Renekton, most of the matchups just kind of end up being a lot of these. Either you play a tank that outscales it, or you play these kind of skill matchups anyway.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see him go right at him with something a little bit more aggressive, like that Jax that we know he does enjoy playing. Cassante obviously can work really well, but that's already banned out. So interesting to see where Revenge wants to take us. And if Golden Guardians are going to be throwing bans to try to protect and to try to limit those options. Because the only champions that Revenge has played so far is 3 Cassantes just taken off the table, and then he has the 1 Fiora and that 1 Ornn game.
I was curious if Immortals had an idea of where this Kalista was going to go. They seem to think that it's Stixxay's pick, but if it does turn out to be a support pick and they start banning all these supports out, then...
That's the power of flex picks, right? Is that, if you throw it out there like, hey, it's an AD, and then they ban out multiple supports, you're like, well, just kidding. It's actually support, right? And
damn,
Huhi did have a good game on Caitlyn, I believe it was. He was actually having a really good game, just unfortunately in the loss, but was kind of stomping in that one. So we know that he is willing to play those different styles of picks. There's a lot of players in support in this league now who are role swapped supports. And I always feel like those guys are fun because they're more willing, I think, oftentimes to go outside that. Huhi was a mid laner, Busio was a mid laner, CoreJJ was an ADC, Sven was the ADC. I might even be forgetting people. That's 4 instantly off the top of my head who actually were starting out in other roles. So it is definitely interesting to see.
All right, stop the cap here, Eddie. We already know that you have a Lucian and Nami.
Mid, blind. No, you don't think so?
Well,
you don't think so?
I don't know. I've seen a Draven. Yeah, all right. It's the Gnar.
I thought for sure this time.
We're not seeing Fabi top anytime soon, Azael. No Draven top. Now, Golden Guardians still have to reveal to the rest of the class where is this Kalista going? Is this actually for Stixxay, or is this going to be our second Kalista support of the split?
They can just pick another AD, and then you still don't know.
Damn it.
Checkmate. Raafaa.
They really got me.
Nice try.
All right, well, Sylas for the mid lane. I mean, we already saw Gori do some nasty stuff on the Taliyah yesterday. I can't imagine that he can do something similar in the frying pot with the Sylas on his side. Come on, Golden Guardians, just tell us.
They're thinking it through. Oh, this would be a real Huhi classic. He was, I think, our best support player on set in the LCS. This was something that he kept playing long after everyone else abandoned it, but it's not. It's actually Renata. And Renata is something I think is like really undervalued. I actually think this is still a really strong pick.
Yeah.
It's been one of my favorite supports since the champion came out. So often when I'm filled support, I'm playing Renata. I really do enjoy it. I do think it has a pretty strong laning phase as well. It scales incredibly well. And the Bela allows champions like Kalista to play hyper aggressive. And I think in particular with Kalista, it synergizes really, really well. Because oftentimes champions, when you bail them out, will struggle to actually get that killing blow. But with Kalista, you can actually just continue to stack up those spears. It gives you an extra couple seconds to actually get that
stun to have to avoid. But we're on the Rift here for our last game of the day between Immortals and Golden Guardians. And already Immortals grouping up this 5, holding hands, making sure that no one gets caught out.
He's gonna kill him. Don't do it, please.
Well, tactical dancing around. He's the bait. In case anyone from Golden Guardians shows face, but no one on Golden Guardians' side is going to even think about stepping up close. I think there's only 1 ward placed down, if I see that correctly.
Yeah, there's one in the Pixel Brush over by the river. So they're going to have that 1 defensive ward, as the observers are highlighting, right about there. I missed it. They went by.
Yeah.
But We are seeing them look for that kind of 5-stack on bot side. And I never mind this, right? You know, if you're expecting that Golden Guardians might be going forward, trying to get some sort of a little cheesy play. Sometimes these Kalista lanes will just brush camp and try to get someone as they're coming back to Lord's lane. So they just 5-stack their brush bot. There's not really much of an opportunity cost. The only thing it costs them is that they have to bring their mid laner in here to clear out these brushes. Because since they were all bot side, they don't know if there's a 5-stack or a 3-stack or whatever up covering that red brush. And now Huhi and them, they were expecting that there would be a ward over here. So he's starting sweeper. He just walks in, tries to get that. That was his trinket ward that was placed in Pixel. So a nice little small thing that they did, but they actually timed that usage of the black spear on Huhi as he recalls. So he basically dies back in base and then swaps over to that sweeper from the trinket. So it's like a small little optimization. Did it actually matter this game? Probably not, but it's cool.
Yeah. Other defensive maneuvers from Immortals as they were entering for Kenvi's red buff. AblazeOlive took the time to just scout ahead with threaded volley, just making sure that while they were all stacked up on the bottom side of the map, because they don't know. They didn't know if anyone from Golden Guardian side tried to poke into Kenvi's own red buff, but it is kind of standard, no real actions going on.
I mean, it's a great life lesson. It's a great way to check a brush, you know, just throw a rock in there.
Oh, I should have learned that when I was playing Pokemon Red for the first time. Is there something in here?
Just chuck something in there. See what happens. Work for AblazeOlive.
Yeah.
If it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me.
At some point, Azael, I actually want a tutorial. You guys can't see this at home, but anytime Azael gets to do fancy stuff and brings attention to the screen, he has a middle monitor and he gets to just like draw cool stuff.
Yeah, I could do like a smiley face right now, you know?
Yeah! Nice. See, that's the stuff that I would do. I wouldn't really, but I'll have to figure out.
I'll teach you.
Thank you.
We can accomplish this. We could actually potentially, if this game is slow, we could accomplish this right now.
Oh my goodness.
Do you want to learn live on broadcast?
Yes, I do. Now, not right now, just making sure that we don't miss anything. But if there's a point where a team is clearly dominating and there's no way to come back.
I think you go for it. Let's see it.
Oh, just right now?
Just get in there, yeah. So here we go.
All right.
This one is if you want to draw a straight line.
Okay.
You go over here. This is for the arrows.
Nice.
This is a big circle. This is a small circle. You press R or click the reset button. This zooms in on the map. And those are your basics. That's what we're going to start you with here.
Okay.
Right? So you can draw on the map. Try it out. Let's see what you got.
What does this do?
So that highlights a section of the jungle.
Ah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Perfect.
Okay, wait, hang on. Oh, River is gonna come through looking topside for a gank. How do I?
There you go.
Clear the screen. Clear the screen. How do you do it? Okay, there we go. Just wanted to make sure.
Congratulations, you did it.
Woo!
You drew an arrow.
All right, well now River wants to make the dive, and I don't think Revenge is getting out of this one unless he can go make a. Oh, River! Unfortunately, cannot save Licorice, but it is a 1-for-1 in the end.
It is a 1-for-1. Golden Guardians get first blood, which is nice, but unfortunately for Licorice, you know, he does not get the kill, and Revenge does. So, you know, yes, there will be a little bit of an XP advantage potentially because a couple minions did die. But I think Revenge is actually going to be pretty happy about how that went. So they'll see if they can get back and look for some sort of a repeat.
Would you? Oh, whoa! AblazeOlive forcing a flash out of Gori. Not sure how that happened, but AblazeOlive nicely winned there. Meanwhile, let's take a look back at the top side.
Yeah, they just have the push. You can see that the rage bar is actually really, really high here. It is a bit of a dicey dive because he's so close to that mega, but they had the confidence to go for it. So flash, empowered stun, and then they have the W chain there, the E, the Q flash from River. So making sure that they can actually burst him down before he goes mega, because if he megas out there and lives, it's a disaster.
Yeah,
so they had to get that kill. But now trying to potentially threaten on this bottom side. River's getting really aggressive, looking for a second dive.
Lens is already burned by Tactical. How much longer can he live? Flashing away from danger. River and Stixxay hop, skip, jumping forward, looking for the damage. The spears are stacking. One that's nicely done from Stixxay. Gets the rend in, but now Kenvi has joined the fray. Fleshy can't really do much more from the sidelines. Kenvi trades one back onto River. Whoa, the damage is cool, but Stixxay still's got spears, and he cleans them all up.
Yeah, he's gonna get another kill there, Stixxay. Out to a great start here already, 2-0, and look at all the farm the Tactical lost. It's a disaster falling this far behind against the Kalista this early on. Maybe could have had a third kill if he got one more spear in Kenvi before he rended, if he got the rend reset on that kill. Because it looked like a Triumph heal even came through onto Wukong, which then took him a couple more autos, and he didn't have that reset to try to kill off Fleshy, but still, big stuff for Golden Guardians. River getting super aggressive. This is reminiscent to when he first came in on Dig, and people were so excited for him, where it's like gank top, gank bot, re-gank, just constantly putting on that pressure. Kenvi, you know, trying to answer it, but not really able to get that much done. And they're behind Revenge. Revenge is nowhere close to Mega. So if he can actually get this all the way in prior to the Rage Bars getting stacked up, he could look for this, but this has been shown, right? Like, he actually spotted that ward in the river, so he knows that he was spotted, and Fleshy is coming out to cover.
Good awareness from Fleshy, just knowing whether it's in comms or just Revenge making a call like, hey guys, I think River's going to path towards me next.
Yeah, we can see this one more time. So it's about the wraparound here. River, you know, uses the Q, getting over the wall, so he doesn't have that for this. But Huhi's just going to be the one to actually start it up. Hits the Q. It's immediately cleansed out there from Tactical. Huhi walks it out, does stay alive. And then the W speed up there is what keeps Stixxay in range of Tactical. Tactical just has to fully retreat. W comes back off cooldown there. That slow allows Stixxay to get those final spears in. And then this was very close to a triple kill. Kenvi's flashing in to try to get aggressive, but that means you're guaranteed to die. The Ren here coming in, look at that. Just barely doesn't kill him. Then the Triumph Field comes through. So I think there's a possibility that he might have been able to get Fleshy. At the very least, though, he gets 2 kills. He's up a good 15, 16 CS. And he is feeling really, really good about his position in this game.
And for Stixxay and Huhi, this was a bot lane that during the first week of LCS, there is a lot left to be desired on their performance. But, you know, I think Stixxay and Huhi, considering the career that they had, they know how to bounce back and is coming off of the incredible win yesterday against CLG, which was pretty much stemmed off of that 2v2 from Stixxay and Huhi had. This is another statement, kind of early lead that Stixxay and Huhi have garnered for themselves with the help of River.
Yeah, absolutely, right? It's about playing around bot. You know, I talked about it earlier, talked about it yesterday with Inspired. You know, feeling that it is so much right now in this current meta about getting your bot lane ahead, and River here lying in wait for AblazeOlive, who's getting really low. Gori's gonna be coming.
Kenvi is here to help. Cyclone right on top of Gori, but Gori has a Cyclone of his own, finds AblazeOlive despite the flash being burned. Kenvi trades one back on the River, but Gori has help from Huhi and Stixxay, who have the first roam. Kenvi, Nimbus striking onto the minions, gets away potentially. Oh, but the face call is available, and they lock him down, Azael. Stixxay, another one on the board.
Yeah, that is a big one. That was even, I think, a bounty there. It looked like he got 400 gold for that kill, I think. So might have been a little bit of a bounty onto Kenvi. Another kill onto Stixxay. He is just so far ahead now already. 1,400 gold ahead of Tactical at 8 minutes. Is a monster individual advantage. Golden Guardians going to be feeling really, really good about their start here in this one. We can watch it one more time. As they were looking to try to get pressure through this river, did they actually spot the
little
water
bed?
dog? I don't know if they actually did or not. There was, I mean, question mark ping was obviously for AblazeOlive because he was looking for a roam down towards bot. So Taliyah's cheating out forward from mid down towards bot. So they say, all right, no, instead, just bring the bot lane up. You actually look at the bottom right of your screen, we're gonna see the AD and the support making their roam up. So they're looking for this collapse. We have Liver just lying in wait there in that side brush, you know, gets that initial chunk down onto AblazeOlive, and then Gori, you know, he does take a lot of damage as he's going aggressive there, but I just think it's such a smart play from Golden Guardians to preempt that, because if their bot lane just stays bot, all of a sudden you have Kenvi showing up behind you, you have AblazeOlive showing up behind you. There's no way that Fleshy and Tactical can walk into the river, contest them, because they lose the 2v2 hard. So it's a free move from bot, and that guarantees they're eventually going to win that fight.
And you have to imagine what was AblazeOlive doing there, and I imagine that it was because they didn't know if River was there. Speaking of River, makes his presence once again in the mid lane, rectifying the odds, as now Gori gets a kill for himself.
That's a jungle masterclass. He is just smurfing it so far in this one. 6 kills in 9 minutes. He's been a part of every single one on the Sejuani. He dives top, he dives bot, he counters the roam from mid lane. Now he kills mid lane as well. He's just looking incredible, and Kenvi has snuck into the brush here. Won't be spotted just yet by that little Kalista Ghosty, but
I think it's called a Sentinel?
We're going to call it the Kalista Ghosty.
You know what? I like that name better. That's a cooler name.
I mean, it's going to be almost impossible to dive them. Unless they like completely troll and go way too far forward, I don't think there's any way that Wukong could just straight up dive into the Renata. Like, if you try to go through that ulti, you're going to be toast. So they're playing with respect to it. They knew that their jungler was actually doing dragon, so there's no reason for them to rush. They don't have eyes on Wukong. So they just play it smart, they play it safe, and they're wasting so much of Kenvi's time.
Yeah, and I think even Tactical is trying to bait Stixxay and Huhi to play confidently up forward so that Kenvi can fish for something, because the lead that Golden Guardians have set for themselves already, it's huge. Stixxay is so far ahead of Tactical at this point that something needs to be done to rectify it, or, I mean, this Stixxay, or this Kalista is going to just walk away with the game.
And that's when it can become so obvious, right? Where it's like you're getting slammed in a 2v2, and the people who are getting blasted all of a sudden are like walking forward and posturing aggressively. Why would you be doing that? You know you lose 2v2. There's no shot you win 2v2, so someone is there, right?
Yeah.
So they're just going to kind of play it safe. And as soon as they start going back towards their normal play, we can see Stixxay and Huhi continuing on their aggression. I do like that they grabbed the first dragon. It wasn't super early or anything because it was mostly that River was actually focusing on the ganks themselves, which have been great. But from here, you want to see them continuing to stack those dragons, work towards a soul. You have full bot lane prio, you have jungle prio, you even have some pressure in mid now with Gori, and you have Kalista to help secure all those objectives. So every single dragon, it should be rinse and repeat, right on spawn, show up, take that, and pressure Immortals into having a response.
All right, well, Revenge just getting some damage on the Licorice as I don't think he can actually all in him here, especially if the boulder does not hit him, but just pushing in this wave.
Yeah. Not going to be able to look for the all-in, because Licorice also still has his ulti, so there's no way you can really just like hard force that. Licorice still has his ulti.
Yeah.
But we'll see if they're going to be able to bait him in for anything. I don't think there's any reason that Revenge should go for it. Like trying to dive a Renekton with ultimate up would be way too much, because he's in mid, he doesn't even have his mega. Like if he was that low and you hadn't used mega yet, then maybe.
Yeah.
But I think they were perhaps wondering if Kenvi was going to brush behind him, and then they could have maybe looked for that type of play.
Right.
So good coverage from River.
Already, as you called it out before, the jungle masterclass from River. River has been able to influence every single lane at this point. This is kind of what happened in some of the matches that Immortals have, been kind of stomped by in the past, because they take advantage of Kenvi's inexperience on the LCS stage, right? Just making sure that even though Kenvi, great carry player, but if you're going up against someone who is just influencing all of your lanes and forcing you to respond while you just want to get resources for yourself, then it puts strain on you. It puts pressure on you to do something, and Kenvi's not going to always know where is the best place to strike.
Yeah, and I think River can put that pressure on really anyone. When he's having his best games, he can do this to just about anyone in the LCS, right?
Yeah.
He really is aggressive, and he's one of those guys that I think bucks the trends because he's non-stop, consistently going for those ganks. This time, Revenge does actually force out the response ult there. Licorice was getting a bit low, started to get a bit nervous on that one, but you love to see Gnar players actually using their Gnar bar as basically like a way to heal up, right? Because every time you go mega, you keep that bonus HP that you get when you go back to mini, so it is effectively a little bit of sustain every time you're Gnaring out. So you can go aggressive, take a tower shot, get a nice trade, then you Gnar out, and you're just continually sustaining up in that way and trying to pressure your opponent here.
Ops coming at Duck doesn't hit. All right, AblazeOlive is able to walk on that one. I thought Gori was going to get a little spicy there, but we are at almost 14 minutes into the game where turret plates are gone, Azael. 2 dragons, or the second dragon is just coming up in about a minute and some change. And already, Stixxay, Gori, River, they're so far ahead, and they want to continue that lead further. Oh! Beautiful stuff from Huhi. Did you see that, Azael?
That was sick. And River as well. That looked like an ulti prediction there onto Fleshy. Fleshy flashed, and he went right into it. Right into the Sejuani ulti there. That was actually really nice from Golden Guardians. Flashy stuff coming down from them as they get another kill on bottom side, and the plates have fallen, so that turret is easy pickings for them. Tactical should not be able to stay around here. River can take the blue and then just wrap around, so Tactical's got to leave 100%. That turret's gone. And
with that play as well, Azael, that gives Huhi the status of 5th most all-time leader on assists, passing smoothie as well. So, I mean, just Huhi has been killing it this week. Just really great stuff. And I think one of the things that always makes me smile is not only just Huhi's playing game when things are going well, but also just his personality, how he carries himself outside of the game as well.
It's just all the things about him. It's going to be one of those things where it's like his smile, his hair.
We're just going to start gushing about Huhi as well, man.
His Aurelian soul.
But he's great to have on a team environment as well. Everyone that I've talked to is like, I love working with him.
I mean, he is such a positive attitude, and he's such a consummate professional. He's a hard worker. He's great at actually kind of creating that positive environment where you can discuss things, you can give feedback, and really is kind of one of those players that I think a lot of coaches want to have on their team, because they're kind of that in-game coach, right? They can calm people down. They can really help kind of foster growth and have direction for your team. So definitely really, really valuable, and all his former teammates will tell you that about him. So is a guy that I think oftentimes is overlooked, and now being separated from FBI, during last year FBI did have a little bit of a turn down. I think a lot of people were looking and saying, well, maybe it's Huhi's fault, right? So Huhi, I think, is out to prove himself, with a new bot lane partner, prove his own individual strength, and I think has had some really good games so far this split.
And you know what? And for that's why we give him this crown right here, because he's a king.
Perfect.
King.
There you
right
go.
Here. Bam. How do I reset?
Hit R.
R?
Yes. Nailed it.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm learning.
The lesson was worth it.
I'm learning how to draw on this damn screen. All right.
It's fun.
There's some really creative things that I could do, and there's some things that I probably shouldn't do, but I'm really tempted to do.
Don't get too creative.
All right.
There's a line.
There is a line. I will.
The producers are, backstage. They're laughing. They're like, oh, we're gonna need a new caster. You just don't want to get that point.
Oh yeah. Well, 3.5 thousand gold ahead for Golden Guardians at 17 minutes into the game. It does seem to be smooth sailing, as Revenge is probably the only positive point on the map for Immortals, which means Golden Guardians say, we need to turn that light down. We need to shut him out. Thankfully for Revenge, Kenvi and Fleshy are also in the wings, ready to fire right on back for defense.
Yeah, and while he has been doing a good job on these trades and getting pressure out, it's not really amounting to much, right? He's 3 CS up, kind of who cares? It's not going to be enough of an advantage to really make something from it just yet. So he's got to try to continue pushing that pace, and that's where it can get difficult. When you're losing the game, as they do, they've lost both dragons. This is going to be 2 heralds that they've lost. Their bot lane is massively behind. You start feeling pressure as a solo laner to try to make something happen. And that's where things can really go bad, because you can overextend, you can expose yourself to a gank, you can try to go for a risky 1v1 that maybe you wouldn't normally, but because you're behind, you have to take more risks.
Well, Tactical dodging out on the Glacial Prison. It was a nice attempt from Golden Guardians, but no dice there. I am curious, Azael, if Immortals, as you already called out, Revenge is not necessarily destroying Licorice in lane. It's just a little bit of pressure on his side. If Immortals can find something on Gori, but he just dashes away. Immortals are, I don't want to say they're in danger of getting outscaled, but as we talked about before, it's so hard to operate into Golden Guardians' comps.
It definitely can be, but we're going to have to see how this plays out. Revenge is going to be able to walk it out. Procs the hyper there. But I will say, I think Taliyah is insane into what Golden Guardians have drafted, right? There's basically 4 short-range champions with dashes. And turns out rocks are pretty good against that, right?
Yeah.
So if the BlazeOlive can actually stay safe, and they are kind of diving onto them, I think in situations where Immortals are the ones engaging, I think it's really, really hard. But if you are getting engaged upon as the Taliyah, and you can actually just kite back, continue throwing out those stones, throwing down the rocks, you can potentially carry a fight. So there is some hope, but of course, they're very far down in gold, and they're going to kind of have to find their windows. One of the things that is disappointing is that despite the fact that Revenge has had pressure, Ablaze has never found a window to actually use Taliyah all together this game, I don't think. So, the only time he actually looked for it was that roam down towards bot, where he got answered by River. That went bad, and then it kind of feels like they just decided, all right, we're losing, let's play safe and scale, right?
Exactly,
and I think when you are going on a Taliyah, you want to still see that proactive movement on the map. You want to see him getting out there, try to play towards your strength.
Yeah.
If Gnar is chunking down Licorice under the turret, hey, get mid lane shoved up, try to move up there with Kenvi, see if you can pull off a 3-man dive or something, because when you sit back, you're just allowing Golden Guardians to get closer and closer and closer to the win condition, which this game is going to be all about soul.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you kind of, if you knew this was how the game was going to be played out, you kind of wish, damn, I wish I picked a Zir, I picked a Victor or something, where you knew that, hey, no matter what, I just need to farm up, and then we're going to try our best to get the late game. They were planning on some early proactivity, but it's been well shut down by Golden Guardians. The pivot from Stixxay and Huhi combined with River to get that dive going. And it really comes down to how Immortals can find windows where Golden Guardians are not on the map and brute force their way and get to the objective first, because then that's when you can force them to walk onto the Taliyah terrain that she sets up.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can make them fight you on those rocks, or if they overextend trying to find an engage, into one of these jungle corridors, you can kite back. It can be really, really strong. And I think people underestimate Taliyah's scaling as well. Like, she can put out a huge amount of DPS in these team fights, if she is properly set up. But they have decided they're going to try to fight for this. Revenge has Mega going, but it pops early, and now Golden Guardians just need to back it up, wait till that expires.
Yeah.
Honestly, even if you don't get the charge, like, it doesn't really matter that much at this point in the game. Play for Dragon, and with Revenge having that Mega Gnar expiring, I can't see how Immortals are supposed to win this fight.
I don't know.
Look at where Gori is.
That's what I'm concerned about for Immortals side. I don't know if Immortals, you should really fight this. I mean, they just feel like they are inclined to walk in, but the Dragon's already gone, so what are you getting out of this fight? And then Gori is coming in for the flank. He wants to look for it. Upsconic Ducks does not connect, but he still has Flash. So if Immortals step too far forward, they have vision on one side of the wall, but they don't see him in the bush. So Immortals know best that it's not wise to take this fight.
Yep, not going to be able to take that fight. It is another Dragon going the way of Golden Guardians. Really, really good for them. But you can see that Golden Guardians still can have difficulties actually finding that engage. If you can't lock down the correct target with that Sejuani and get raided on top of them, it's so hard to push through Taliyah. So even from this disadvantageous position, Immortals at least kind of fight them out to a stalemate. And Gori here with that stolen ulti, if they overextend, he's going to go. Here's going to go.
Look at this! Two-man knockup from Gori. Goes in with the Upsconic Duck. Just watch Stixxay, though. He's got the bounty on his side. He's got the damage, but he can't step up too far forward. Immortals are able to fight on back. Tactical, emptying some damage. A Black Throw AblazeOlive doesn't connect, but damn! Immortals are actually fighting back.
Yeah, they're fighting back really, really well. Not able to actually fully get those engages. The flash in from Gori didn't get anyone into the wall, so there wasn't actually the stun. It was just the damage. You know, maybe just scooping them back towards the tower, I think, would have been more effective. I think he thought he had the range to get them stunned into the wall, which would have maybe given this Kalista time to actually connect and get damage out. But in that case, I think it would have been better just scoop them back towards the tower into the team. Because if you can't get in on them on that initial engage, you're just going to be taking so much damage from Tactical, from AblazeOlive, who are just, you know, at that range. Culling coming out, the constant Qs coming out here from Taliyah make it really, really difficult for this short range comp.
And we're getting to the point of the game where that 3,500 gold lead, oh, just as I say it, AblazeOlive is gone, baby. Golden Guardians finding Mr. Olive a little too far overextended, trying to protect that tower. I don't think it's going to give them Baron pressure. Oh, you know what? I take that back. They're just going to fire it away right now.
I mean, I don't know if they'll fully commit to it, but they at least want to force Immortals to come to them because they showed Gnar bot lane, so they're trying to make him come up because they have TP advantage. So they're setting up a 5v3 right now, but Huhi is taking a lot of damage himself.
Force the flash, but he still has the hostile takeover and wait for Immortals to fully commit before he throws it out. All right, it hits onto 2. Kenvi going in with the Cyclone, but everyone from Golden Guardian is just keeping Kenvi out of the club. No one is getting into the Baron pit, and Golden Guardians just get to walk away freely with the objective on their side. Oh, they're flashing back in. Flash from Licorice. Kenvi is stunned up. Clone, can he get out alive? He's running for the hills. But Golden Guardians are still on their side. Man, oh man, it was getting dicey there, but they still have the Baron buff, so that's all that they need to walk away with.
Yeah, Stixxay just really having trouble actually getting in range, it feels like, in a lot of these fights to finish off any of the kills as they're getting low. He can't seem to quite get in. And Ablaze on that top side was just punished so heavily for his offensive flash. You know, earlier in that fight, when they were getting them chunked down around mid lane, they actually looked for a flat seismic shove. He couldn't connect on anyone, so they say, all right, you're going to show top? Well, we can punish you. He has Spellbook, so he swapped it over to a heal, but that's not going to keep you safe from that CC. As soon as one lands, the other is going to be there to follow it up, and that kill allowed them to start the pressure because it wasn't just that AblazeOlive is dead. It's that Revenge was showing bot, and they knew he had no TP, and they had TP advantage on their Renekton. So it's not a 5v4, it's a 5v3 when they're starting that Baron. And that's really what gave them the confidence to do it, and you love to see Golden Guardians recognizing that very quickly and being really aggressive about it.
And Azael, Gori has picked up the BM book. The Medjay Soul Stealer has been purchased. He is feeling damn confident about this next fight. It is going to be Soul that is on the line for Golden Guardian. And at this point, we already know that Immortals, they didn't feel that confident about forcing the other fight, but this one, they have to contest.
They absolutely have to. And this is that time in the game where if you can afford it, buy a stopwatch, buy an elixir. This is the fight that either keeps you in the game or the game is over really on the Immortal side. So you've got to go all out to try to get that. Golden Guardians just want to extend their gold lead. They need to make sure that they leave themselves enough time if they want to reset and fully establish vision around that dragon because this is their win condition here. They are looking really, really close to kind of sealing what are probably the last sorts of chances that Immortals have in this game.
Golden Guardians just taking their time at this point. 35 seconds away from the dragon spawning. They have complete control of this bot jungle. Nothing belongs to the side of Immortals.
Yeah, it's looking difficult. Fleshy getting pushed back, has to be careful there. It's only 20 seconds until Dragon spawns. Immortals are taking some late resets, trying to get as much as they can here. As Kenvi's gonna get pulled in, has to be careful.
I've seen some combos from really skilled Renata mains where they Q and they pull them right into the hostile takeover on the second cast. I guess that wasn't the time to strike for it, but Huhi will know when to do it best. Immortals just holding on.
Yeah, and Huhi really just wants to hold that for the dragon fight itself here. River gets walled, but he's got a dash, and so does Licorice. So
I don't think they know that Stixxay has been stacking up the dragon this entire time, and Immortals, unless Kenvi, you can find a miracle out of nothing, goes clones in, but it's too late. It is secured, and Kenvi flashes into the wall. He's got nowhere to run. He's just buying time for the rest of Immortals to get the hell out of there. You all better run, because Golden Guardians are coming. Huhi throws himself in there, catches hostile takeover onto one. AblazeOlive will fall. Revenge throws River into the wall, but if you can't take out the backline, then there's no hope at all.
Yeah, Immortals not going to have enough left in the tank there. They were arriving to the dragon just too late, simply put, not able to get there in time. Kenvi tries to go for some heroics, tries to look for that smite steal. Wasn't able to make it happen, though. The soul is secured. They get a couple kills on the way out, and now Tactical and Fleshy have got to run. Tactical's in trouble.
Nicely done. River Q flash forces Tactical to flash as well. He still has a cleanse to play with, so if he gets stunned by that permafrost, that might be the next thing burned. But Golden Guardians, all they want is to continue pushing into the base before their Baron buff expired, and they get 2 inhibitor turrets off.
And they have so much gold in pocket right now. 2,500 gold on Kalista, over 2,000 on Renekton, about 2,000 in the mid lane, and there was well over 1,000 gold in the pockets of the jungler there. So they were closing in on 10,000 gold before they all reset there between their 5 members. So they really want to spend that up. You don't want to stay on the map too long. But we can watch this one more time. Gori kind of threatening from the side. They're trying to go for this a little bit of a desperate ult because both these players have dashes and they just realize we've got no vision. They're probably already on Dragon. They're trying to force something. Kenvi does at least bully his way in with the help of AblazeOlive to try to get into the pit. With Kalista Spears there, as long as Golden Guardians are actually coordinating well on that, it was never really going to happen. And you can see the stolen Gnar all there, stunning him into the wall. Gori was just buying time on the other side. He had the Zonias to make space and did a good job of it.
And the rest is history here for Immortals as we have another fight. Revenge, a little too far overextended. I don't know how we got to that point in the game, but Golden Guardians being able to pick off a lonely top laner as Baron will be spawning in the next minute, and Immortals just have no way to be able to set up the necessary vision to get into the Baron side.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult at this point in the game. You know, they're just so far behind. It's nearly well, it is 10,000 gold lead exactly now. Plus Soul, you're going to give them about another 4,000 or 5,000 gold in stats from that. It's an astronomical lead here. And everyone went back and basically picked up a full item afterwards. I like that Licorice, he knows the game's not about him. He's actually just going Radiant Glory, or Radiant Virtue, excuse me.
Yeah.
So just playing, heavily for those utility style items. River can tank up as much as he wants because he has his Warmog, so he knows I can just body block and then just back it up and heal right back to full.
And Golden Guardians just being right at the footsteps outside of the base of Immortals because they are giving pressure and time for Licorice while Revenge was dead on that death timer. And just making sure that they set up everything necessary to close out this game. Golden Guardians, they are just moments away from closing out a nice 2-0 week for them, bouncing back. Kenvi is going to throw one last-ditch effort, finds River, but you got to make sure you can find a way to take out Stixxay in the end, and they don't even take out River. He still lives through it all, and now Stixxay, he's in a one-on-one against Revenge. He's got members behind him, but they still can't take him down. Stixxay lives through it all, picks up a double. Licorice dashing over the wall, wants to get Fleshy as well. A flash is, holy damn! What was that, Gori? Just catching AblazeOlive before he even gets away. God, Golden Guardians. Now I know why Anera was not worried at all in that interview with Travis. He was like, it's just fine, guys. We're gonna be just fine. A nice statement, back-to-back win, and hell of a week for Golden Guardians to end it off.
Yeah, looking really strong in this one, Gori. That final kill looking flashy, just grabbing a hold of AblazeOlive, pulling him off the wall. They're going to play around with the fountain, but they will eventually finish this one out. A 2-0 week for Golden Guardians. The first week that they really, had to actually practice here with Gori. He did come in last week, but it just arrived. They had a full week of scrims. They had that preparation coming into this one and looked much better for it. Stixxay and Huhi really benefited from that pressure from River.
Yeah.
But to me, you know, more than anyone else, this was a game about River. River really was everywhere. He ended the game with nearly perfect KP. He only missed out on 1 kill throughout the entire game, but all of the early game was driven by him.
That's
the
right.
dive top lane, gets right down to bot, dives bot lane. He actually counter ganks on the roam that was coming through from AblazeOlive, meets him in the river, wins that scuffle there.
He was everywhere.
He basically put all 3 lanes ahead, you know, with this really aggressive play, with this really active play that you're not expecting